Well, I'm going to demonstrate the guide, so going from...
You better say it a bit louder, I think.
Oh, okay. Can everyone hear me?
No.
No. Is it working? Is this working?
Yes, it doesn't make it very loud.
Hello? Oh, that's okay. Right. Okay, well, I'm going to demonstrate the...
You might stand up, is that difficult?
No, not really.
Okay, all right. If you can't hear at the back, please wave so that Frances knows and she will then project.
I have a very weak voice. I'm going to demonstrate the guide to the ELRHA online guide to constructing effective partnerships. But first of all, I just want to give a brief overview as to why we actually did this. And I have 7 main reasons. I'm afraid it's not 3, Simon, it's 7. One is, or the first is that there's been an increasing demand by research funders for research to be useful. And that's been particularly evidenced by the substantial change from the higher education funding councils, who've now said they wish to bring in impact as a criterion to judge research under the next Research Excellence Framework, which is the structure within which most universities obtain their funding. Secondly, this increasing demand for useful research has led to a growth in research consortia that comprise both producers of research and users of research. Thirdly, one of ELRHA's 2 objectives is to bring together the research community and the international humanitarian community to create world-leading partnerships which produce research that has measurable impact in the humanitarian field. So this led on to, very soon after ELRHA was established in 2009, various stakeholders began asking for advice on how to set up partnerships between humanitarians and academics. And whilst there is a lot of information on partnerships in general, there's virtually nothing that's been sort of pulled together on the kind of challenges that are thrown up when trying to bring two very, very different constituencies together that have different timeframes, different incentive structures, and so on. And fifthly, whilst many partnerships do actually exist, so there have been successful partnerships, there have been unsuccessful partnerships, but there's been actually no sort of pulling together of the shared learning on what works and what doesn't. 6th point, this then demonstrated to ELRHA that there was a need to pull together this learning and to document the processes that people could start to take the first steps if they wanted to. We found when using the research matching facility, people would say, "Oh, I'd like to work with an academic," and you just think, well, you need a bit more information, and that also provided sort of underpinned the need for a more coherent process approach. And 7th, we got the money from the Higher Education Funding Council to do this, so that was marvellous. So now I'm going to try and demonstrate this guide. I'm not the most technologically proficient, but here we have it. So this launch today is really just the beginning. It's a journey of 1,000 miles, and I would say we're probably 20 steps in. So we're looking for help in terms of people contributing to this resource, and it can be added to. Please email me with case studies that you think would be relevant, links, toolkits, all that sort of information. We want it to be a kind of one-stop shop for people looking for advice and guidance on bringing together academics and humanitarians. So this resource, which has been developed from a report that was written by Teresa and Isabel last year, we've translated it into a highly interactive and icon-driven sort of platform There is also an Android app. So we hope that those of you who've got Android phones, you go to the Android marketplace and download it and use it. We haven't yet got an iPhone app, but we hope later this year that will happen. And so the guide works like this. This is the icons move across. So this is background, and this is how, and it centres round the seven steps of seven basic progressional steps at the core. And so we have why collaborate, the approach to collaboration, choosing the right partner, scoping the partnership, formalising the partnership, sustaining the partnership, and sort of rounding up, moving on. And this doesn't have to be a closed gate, it can also be opening another opportunity. These 7 steps are underpinned by the evidence, which is basically a selection of case studies. At the moment we have 6. ELRHA has funded a number of research collaborations, but at the moment there are 6 up there. We will be adding to them as time goes on. And the 7 steps are also linked to the learning, which are reflective pieces that were extracted across the interviews, the sort of common threads that ran through them all. And some of these are really quite interesting, I think. There's the cultural differences. There's the issue of time, synchronising, because the two constituencies work very, very differently in terms of time. Often academics take years, humanitarians need to make decisions on the head of a pin almost. There was also a rather interesting request for more happy hours. People wanted to meet sort of more informally at the edges of big gatherings so that they could, find chemistry, find different people to collaborate with. And it was often found that under these circumstances, often due to serendipity, that some of the best partnerships were actually formed. The fruit, it's meaning research is not the only fruit, in that academics can engage with humanitarians in a number of different ways. It doesn't have to be a formal research practitioner partnership. They can be consultants and move together slightly differently in a creative way. And this was collaboration. So these are identifying the gaps and the opportunities. And if you click onto these little quote marks, the quotes come out. And then you scroll down, and then it scrolls right back up to the top. You get back into the learning. And then this is enhancing the skills of humanitarians today and tomorrow. So that ties in quite a bit with ELRHA's other role, which is to try and professionalise the humanitarian sector. There's also a resources page with tools and various links that go through to go back to the 7 steps. So it is all interlinked. I do urge you to have a play with it, really. We also have the research matching facility, which is something that ELRHA has been doing for quite some time, and Roger's project was one of those. So if people are requesting an academic partner, they click on this icon, and it takes you through to a form that you fill in, and then it comes through to us. Oh, I've lost it. Oh no. How does that work? Sorry, I'm not, as I say, I am technologically challenged, so I've lost it now. Go back on there.
Never mind, press on.
Okay, and the same with if you want a humanitarian partner request. We also have a community page, and again, this is very much work in progress. There's a LinkedIn group, and we would encourage all of you to sign up to the LinkedIn group. It's underway, and we'd encourage you to put in any kind of requests that you're after, or events you think might be useful, toolkits, etc. And lastly, I don't want to sort of go into the Oscars, but there are some people we do need to say thank you to. Teresa Hanley and Isabel Fogel for doing the research and the report. Will Humphrey and the team from Carrick for translating the research into the online guide. The 4 higher education councils for funding this work, and HPN and ODI for hosting this event, and also Emily Whitehead, ELRHRA's comms officer, for her attention to detailing getting the research, the guide up to scratch for today. So any questions, just please ask.
Thanks so much. Just when you're asked to recommend some humanitarian researchers, who's on your list?
Oh, Simon, I don't know.
I mean, how does what I guess people want, how do they get on the list is what I guess people want to know.
Jess,
sorry, I'm Jess Cameron, Director of ELRHA. Whoever uses the broad network of stakeholders signed up to our various newsletters, and if a request comes out, we post out a public request, and then we look at what we get in. People are interested in saying they have the right expertise, and we try and match.
So the answer to the question then is sign
Sorry.
up to the ELRHRA newsletter.
I've just been asked to repeat that for the online listeners. Do you want me to run through it again?
Okay.
If someone is looking for a humanitarian academic researcher, they can put a request in, and all our members are signed up. We have over, I think, about 300 academics signed up to our e-bulletins, and also on our website. About 2,000 people come to our website regularly. We put a request out to those networks, and then people respond to those, and then we begin a bit of brokering process to match the right partner.
Very good. Thanks very much.